This is Jason Dunn from Pocket PC Thoughts, and this is the second part of my video on the Zinc II. I've had a little bit of time to spend with it now, and I have some further impressions on using the device. One of the first things I noticed is that moving from landscape to portrait mode, or portrait to landscape in this case, actually happens relatively quickly. It's a little bit hard to see in this YouTube video, but the flip occurs fairly fluidly, which is better than I can say for my AT&T Tilt. So it looks like MWG did a bit of enhancements there and some optimization, so that's good to see. I also really liked the finish on the device. So the finish on the back, at least, is a basically rubber. It's got sort of a matte finish look, but the good thing is that fingerprints don't actually show up on it. Now if you compare that to say my Samsung Blackjack 2, let's see if I can get the lighting just right here. It is absolutely covered in all sorts of smudges, and frankly it just looks really kind of atrocious. And even the HTC Touch Diamond has exactly the same problem. It has a really shiny finish on the back, and fingerprints show up on it. It looks pretty gross after a little while, and I'm constantly cleaning it. So with this particular device, I noticed that was a nice feature I didn't have to worry too much about in terms of keeping it clean. Now the front, obviously the front touch screen, you still have to keep that clean, but that's just the nature of devices where you're touching the screen. I was able to connect over 3G to my Rogers 3G network connection here. The speed on the Rogers network, at least with this particular device, and in fact actually, to be realistic, all my devices that I've tested so far, 3G speeds are really not as exciting as you'd like to think they are. I did a couple of bandwidth tests, and I saw speeds on this device that were in the 250 to 290 kilobits per second range. That's about 6 times faster than your average edge speed, which might be in the 50 kilobits per second range. But it's certainly a bit of a letdown, frankly. But again, that's not a problem with this device. That's more like my phone carrier here in Canada, Rogers. We can blame them. One of the things that I think is going to be a bit of an issue with this device, and I mentioned it in the first video, and that is the limited amount of RAM. So the device itself comes with 64 megs of RAM. All right. There's a total of 50.53 megabytes available for use by the device. 20 megs are in use after you first boot it up, and that gives you about 30 megabytes free. Now 30 megs sounds like a lot, but frankly, once you load up a GPS mapping program or a couple other hefty programs, that gets used up really quick. So I would not at all be surprised if power users that like to load a lot of applications on their device and run a lot of apps, if they would run out of memory quite quickly. So I'm a little bit disappointed to see MWG not put 128 megs of RAM. The HTC Touch Diamond, it has 192 megabytes. So the bar is definitely being raised on a regular basis, and this device is going to be, frankly, left behind. Now, I tested out the GPS function. It worked really great. I installed the Windows Live mapping application. Oops, sorry, I got a little bit confused, or I started up the wrong Windows Live. It's painful how Microsoft has named these. Live Search is the name of the actual app that I installed. I used the get current position from the GPS position. It acquired the signal in maybe 6 or 7 seconds, which was nice and quick, and I was able to start using the live search tool from my home location. So the GPS on this works great. There is no full-blown GPS program on the device. What they do have is they've put a program on here that's essentially a GPS. It essentially just gives you your GPS coordinates. So it's called the GPS viewer. I'm indoors, it's not going to show you any coordinates here, but essentially that's all that this does. So you do need to factor in going out and purchasing some GPS mapping software. One of the other things I noticed is that they put a custom menu application on here. So if I press this button on the side, you'll see this interface pop up. So I'll just sort of press it a couple times here so you can see it. So this interface is essentially the MWG, I think they call it the Quick Start. So it gives you access to Windows Media, pictures and videos, the camera, and games. Now, this interface is really only skin deep though, because as soon as you click on pictures and videos, it takes you to the same kind of, frankly, ugly and not really all that easy to use pictures and video client that Windows Mobile ships with, and the same thing with Windows Media. It loads up Windows Media Player rather than another player that's sort of more optimized for finger use. So that is something to be aware of. It's not a big deal if you have a lot of third-party software and you want to customize the device, and add in your own programs. Although I don't think that there's a way to change it. Yeah, see, so that's the games. I'm not aware of a way to actually change what the shortcuts are, but there may in fact be a way to do that. Battery life seems about average. I haven't done an official battery test, but it seems about average for a device of this nature. It does come with a streaming streaming audio player from Arcsoft. Now, what's a little bit confusing is that I don't really, frankly, know. Like, it seems like you need to manually enter in an URL for the stream that you want to connect to, and that seems obviously pretty clumsy and awkward, and I don't know exactly who would want to do that. So in terms of third-party software, there's really not a whole lot here, to be honest with you. So you really want to load up your own applications on this. It does come with Office Mobile, so that's Excel Mobile, OneNote Mobile, PowerPoint Mobile, and Word Mobile. So you are able to be productive with the device right out of the box. I tested it over Wi-Fi. It had no trouble at all connecting to my Wi-Fi network, so there was no problems there. The keyboard itself, I would say, I have kind of mixed feelings about it, frankly. The keyboard itself is backlit, even though it's a little bit hard to tell from this video. But the keyboard does actually light up right around the blue edges there. The keyboard is fairly easy to use. I mean, it's certainly not difficult, but like anything else, you have to adjust to it. It is a little bit weird not having sort of distinct keys, but as you move over each key, you can sort of feel the edge. So I think probably if I were to give this, a few weeks of use, I could probably get used to it. One of the things, though, that I have had a hard time getting used to is the screen resolution. It's 240 by 320, so it's QVGA, and I've been spending quite a bit of time with the HTC Touch Diamond, which is this device here. Now, like I said in my previous video, they're very different devices. This has a slide-out keyboard, this does not, so they appeal to a different market. But from a screen resolution point of view, going from a 2.8-inch VGA screen and going back to QVGA, that is a really tough road to go down, I guess. It frankly was kind of hard to get used to the coarseness of the QVGA screen resolution. Now, this device is selling for $749 US from Expansys, and then you have the Touch Diamond selling for $695. So this device does have a keyboard, and you do pay for that. But it's kind of tricky, right? I think at this price point, when you're paying over $700, I would have really liked to have seen MWG put a VGA screen in this device. I haven't seen a Touch Pro yet. My understanding is it will be about this thick. So I think that MWG is going to have a bit of a struggle on their hands in terms of positioning this product without a VGA screen. Now, they may have stuck with QVGA, strictly to ensure that the battery life and maybe even the thickness would have increased. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not the engineer that designed this, but that is something that you have to get used to if you're going to use the device. Overall, I would say that it's quite fast. The 500 megahertz Samsung processor does a pretty good job with day-to-day use. I didn't test it with any video, but I suspect it would do a pretty good job there. So this has been Jason Dunn from Pocket PC Thoughts. You can check out the MWG device on their website, which I think is MWG.com. If that's not right, I'll correct this in the video editing phase. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out PocketPCThoughts.com for news and reviews. Thanks for watching.